This week on Not Just Another Sex Podcast.
When we talk about healthy, I want us to get rid of this size thing. I'm not saying that size doesn't matter, but technically that's usually never what we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about how the person looks and we think that that size is too big,
right,
and that is what's unhealthy. When I say I have food addiction, I would have a thing where I always ate as if there was a scarcity. Through therapy, I've went through all the things that really made me this person now. And like my parents used to like put a lock on the cabinet for like food, like an actual key lock for food.
You'd have to ask.
I would have to ask, and usually it was like told no, right? Hey, sugar. I feel like there are so many different things that I need to learn as an adult. I'm this nasty on a regular day, like on a Tuesday. I am your host, Samaya Burton, and don't worry, it's not just another sex podcast. Welcome back to Not Just Another Sex Podcast. I am your host, Samaya, and I'm very excited to be joining you guys today for another amazing episode. But before we get into it, we are going to start off with a review. So, Nate, it has an accent, so I think that's how you pronounce it. Nate says, keep shining your bright beam. Miss Samaya, just yes. 10s across the MFing board. Fun fact, I first came across your beautiful energy during your interview on Cocktails, Dirty Discussions with my girls, Kiki and Medina Monroe. So thankful to come across your new podcast and have been watching this ever since. Keep them coming and doing the work. The self-alignment and attunement is abundantly clear and shines bright on you. Until the next one, love. Thank you so much. You guys, look, if you guys have not caught on by now, I'm a words of affirmation girl. So talk to me nice, okay? I don't think you guys know, but a lot of people do not leave reviews on podcasts or under the YouTubes. They don't rate. And all of those things really matter. You have to remember, like, the show costs nothing for you. The audio, the YouTube, it costs nothing. But it costs me so much. And like the only form of payment I'm asking for when it comes to this show is for you guys to chime in and letting people know that, hey, I really love this show. As a creator, you know, you guys tuning in is what fuels the work. It's what keeps us going. And there are so many times where you have like, you second guess yourself or you have imposter syndrome, and just reading from a stranger, you know how much time you rarely leave a review if something's good. You always just say something when it's bad. So everybody might not know that what they're doing is working. So when you guys leave these reviews, it helps me so much more than you know. But also it's what helps get us on the charts, these listens, these shares, sharing the reels, all of that. So thank you guys so much. I could tell you guys are listening to what I'm saying because we have so many reviews, so many ratings. And I really appreciate that. So please keep them coming. So today's episode, I'm super, super, super excited, per usual, because when I first decided I was going to have this show, I was already I had like a year of episodes already thought up. I knew I was going to get into. This whole show was about how I changed my life, all the things I did. Like, I'm telling you guys every single secret, every single thing I've actually done. And so I knew I had to have my girl Alison on the show. Say hello to the folks, Alison.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Alison Vogt. I am a certified personal trainer. I'm currently a coach at Orange Theory Fitness, and I've been a personal trainer for the last 13 years. I started my career in 2010 at the Florida A&M University, where I met Samaya. Hey. I started out as a cycling instructor and group fitness instructor in college. And then from there, I just worked my way through working at different gyms and just getting more and more certified and digging deeper into the world of personal training, nutrition, and also bodybuilding.
Yes. So she's a bad bitch. Okay. That girl. And so I was super excited to have you on the show today because, you know, we've had so many talks through sweating and you put me through that vigorous ass cycling class.
That you asked for.
That I asked for. That I asked for. But there's so many other things that we've talked about. And I know your personal journey, you know mine. And I thought it was just time for us to go ahead and bring it to the camera and, you know, share the things that we've learned. So let's get into the episode. So per usual, we are going to start off with the adult tip of the day. This is just a quick segment because I don't know about you, but like one day I looked up and I was like a grown up. And It
so
was like,
fast.
yeah, like I'm the responsible one. I'm the one who got to know how to do CPR. It's a whole bunch of things. And sometimes it's like a little tidbit you can put in your pocket. Sometimes it's like my therapist says or whatever. And so this is just one thing where we're being intentional about just the adulting and stuff. So today's adult tip of the day is coming from the book Atomic Habits by James Clear.
I love that book.
Amazing, amazing, amazing book. So fun fact, he has like a 10-minute video on YouTube that I listen to every morning. Like say I don't feel like working out, I will listen to that video and it's only 10 minutes. I would just jump rope.
Okay.
For nothing. And you already know how hard jump. For sure. Look here. Jumping rope is just bad.
And
it's
for
like
10
running.
minutes. Yeah, that's a long time.
It's a long time. And people don't realize how many calories you burn with working out. So it's just like an easy, digestible way for me to still get my workout in. But that 10-minute video, just listening to it every single day at one point last year, I was different by the end of like 30 days.
Wow.
So, and just a 10-minute clip of it. So imagine just downloading the entire book on Audible or watching reading the entire book.
Right.
But from that book, I want to talk about 4 steps of making a habit. And then, and that is noticing, desire, doing, and enjoying. And he says that there are 4 basic steps to creating a new habit. And basically habits are the building blocks for us to change our identity, for us to change the outcome of something. Yeah. And I just want to talk about, even though those are like simple words, what it really means. And so that way you guys can try to apply this in your life in whatever way that is, whether that's your body, whether that's work, whether that's a hobby, no matter what it is. And so noticing is pretty much the accountability and the awareness. Because you can't change anything that you don't even notice is a problem or that you're not aware that you want to change or whatever. And when you apply this to your personal self, that could be, I notice that when I look in the mirror, I don't feel my sexiest self.
Right.
Or noticing that, you know what, I need to change that. I don't like how I'm talking to myself. What is it that you notice? And I think that it may sound simple, but it's difficult because you also have to acknowledge you may not be at your best in that area for the thing that you notice or the thing that you want to change. And so noticing doesn't have to even be a mean thing to yourself. It could just be like, that's something I can work on.
Right.
And I think we shy away from that accountability because accountability has always been very aggressive or rude or, you need to lose some weight.
Right.
Like, fuck you. So,
Right.
so noticing that there is something that needs to change. Desire, it's, you know what, I really do want to get better in this. I want to make the change about it, not just accepting the knowing that something is wrong. Do I really want to do something about it? Why do I want to do something about it? Where is it going to apply in the future, right? And then doing. Doing is your implementation plan.
Action.
Yes, action. People think I think that is the hardest part because they don't have digestible steps. A lot of people plan for the finish line versus planning for the starting line, which is why I love this book because it changes the way that you digest doing something different or doing something new or adding something to your routine.
Right.
Consistency is the most difficult part of improving anything, right? And he says that basically when you just focus on starting.
Right.
Because no matter what, those habits are no matter what, you're going to get better. Right. Like I always use skating as my example. I've always...
I do.
I love skating, but I can't skate. Yeah,
it's hard.
It's really hard.
It's a lot of balance.
Yes, I be ass to grass. But I was doing it every day during COVID and then getting into classes here now and stuff like that. No matter what, even if I'm not good at it, I am getting better.
Right.
I can do it longer. Like at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter the finish line, but mostly starting. And there's even this rule that even if you do something, even if you never miss something twice, no matter what, you did it at least 50% of the time.
Right.
So there are certain rules that you can put into doing the work to make it more digestible, I guess, for you. And even the reason I like that rule of never miss twice is because it brings you to awareness that, damn, I really may only work out once a week, which means that how often are you really doing that in a 365-day year?
Right. And I feel like when you miss things multiple days in a row, it kind of becomes a habit of missing that thing multiple days in a row.
Yes, that becomes the habit.
That becomes a habit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I really love that rule because it's like, damn, that's not that bad. At least if I be like, okay, I ain't doing this shit tomorrow. Okay, but I got to do it the next day.
Back on it.
It's just a little bit easier. And you're doing it way more than you think because most people get into a new habit you're not doing it 3 days a week. So when they say just try to work out 3 days a week, it's not as hard as we think.
Exactly.
And you guys, I know that she is a trainer, but this whole episode is going to be apply it to whatever that thing is in your life that you need a new consistency or new change for. And the last thing is that enjoying it. And I think that opening our minds up to what a thing can be. So for example, because we have you on as working out, skating, like I said, that is a workout.
Exactly.
You don't have to do I don't know, like a CrossFit workout for an hour and a half.
You gotta find what you like in order for it to be sustainable.
Absolutely. Sure. And just starting somewhere, whether that's like walking around the block or jumping rope for 10 minutes. Yeah. So, but that is the adult tip of the day, you guys.
Hey, you guys, it's your host, Samaya. And for those of you who didn't know, I'm also the CEO and founder of Sexual Essentials. One of my favorite parts about building that brand was creating a learning platform that has over 250 workshops, interviews, and so much more. Some of my favorite components are the sex position demos. Yes, you heard that right. Demos. They're featuring some people that you may already know. Good Moms Bad Choices has demonstrated some positions for us, as well as Dara. You remember her from our first episode. Those are some of my faves, as well as the lingam and yoni massages. These are great additions to add to your oral loving for your partner. Yes, I said oral loving. I'm trying to keep it clean, guys. Anyways, they are great additions and a great way to spice things up. Outside of our masterclasses, add one of these on to your normal routine and really wow your partner. Click the link below or in any of the links in our bio and sign up for our courses today. All right, now back to the show.
So Twitter Talk. Twitter Talk is where we just kind of pay homage to what Black Twitter was or is or however you want to talk about it. But it's a long running where all the conversations end up like whether it's controversial or it's messy or it's something real, like even just real knowledge. Like
fun facts.
Yeah, like Twitter just had so much stuff. So today's Twitter Talk is about people being uncomfortable with fat people. They're not, yeah, I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Like fat phobia?
Like fat phobia. And I think that a lot of people do not have the honesty to admit that they just don't like big people. They try to blame it on people being unhealthy.
I think it's projection.
You think so?
Like internal discomfort with yourself to where other people just being themselves make you uncomfortable.
I think I've heard, and I worded it like that because it does take you back. Like, damn, did she just say that? Like, I worded it like that for real because a lot of people would say like, oh, well, it's just unhealthy and things like that. There are plenty of skinny people
who are very unhealthy.
Very unhealthy. There are plenty of people that work out every day that are very unhealthy.
Very.
And ultimately, that's why I wanted to bring you on the show because we need to change what our habit, what we believe healthy is.
And perception of other people.
Absolutely. So if you have anything to chime in on that, but I wanted to make that the Twitter Talk because the truth is, I think, is that people are uncomfortable with people that are bigger, not really the unhealthy parts.
Yeah.
Even when I lost weight, like I used to get so much encouragement, like when I was bigger and I was wearing certain things and people were like, oh yeah, that's good for you, da 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 da. And I felt like people were saying it because they felt like they had to. And I say that because when I lost weight and I was wearing the exact same things, it was like, you doing the most, cover up, da 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 da. Was it really real when you encouraged me when I was big? Or do you feel that because someone is big, you naturally just have to encourage them or have to say you're so beautiful? Like, why we are aware.
I think that I think what you were receiving is you see someone who is in society bigger and shouldn't be showing so much of their skin and how much confidence it requires to be comfortable in your body, to do all of the things you're doing. But in reality, they should be able to do whatever it is that anyone else should be able to do or feel confident to do. So I think in society, I think a lot of people feel like you should only have confidence when you look a certain way. And I think because you had the confidence to wear whatever you wanted to wear, do whatever you wanted to do, they felt like it was worthy of applause because for them, they wouldn't feel confident to do that. And I think that's kind of like where that comes from. Is like they feel like only certain people who look a certain way should be confident. And so because you exuding confidence at every size, to them that was like, wow, shocking, but everyone should be confident regardless of their size.
I love the perspective. I love it. And ultimately it's just the the icing of where we're starting. We're going to get into like the deeper layers of where I was really going with that thought. And so when I think about like a bigger size or what's really healthy, I think about your story all the time. And if for you guys that don't know, Alison used to be an accountant. Well, technically she is an accountant, but she quit that career field, right, to get into fitness. And when I met Alison, I was taking her cycling class. First of all, she's crazy. Cycling itself is crazy. But it was so cool.
With the music, you just,
Yes. It was such a cool, like it was a vigorous, fun workout. It was very cool because the music is like super loud. So you ain't got to worry about nobody talking. Well, if you got a good teacher. Sometimes you get teachers and they'd be talking through the whole thing. You're like, girl, turn the music up. But Alison would have a good playlist. She had good vibes. Like it was a good time. Yeah. So I met you then. And then you went off to be an accountant and you were still, toying with fitness and things like that. But I remember you made a hard switch and you were like, you know what? I'm going to do my first bodybuilding competition. Yeah. Right?
Wow.
That was so long ago, right? Long ago. And we used to talk every single day.
That prep, Lord Jesus.
And I forgot that lady's name, but we ain't gonna mention her. We ain't got to mention the unmentionable. And Alison, we were, and me and Alison would talk every day. Alison has been between her and a couple other trainers, have been a consistent trainer in my life since I got into fitness. And depending on what I needed to do, I would call her because I knew I could get it done. But when you started the bodybuilding, afterwards, you were, I'm not going to say a mess, but you were like, I'm confusion. I'm eating this little piece of meat and these little vegetables 3 times a day.
Right.
And it made your relationship with food worse.
I wouldn't say it made it worse. I think it brought it to light. It really allowed me to see what I was dealing with that I hadn't necessarily shed light on. Right. So I grew up in fitness. I was playing tennis growing up all the way in through high school. When I got to college, I was stopped team sports. So I started working out at the gym, eventually working at the gym in college. And I think throughout that whole time, I was always overweight. No matter how much activity I was doing from 6 to 10 to 14 to 21, losing weight and keeping it off was always a struggle, but I had never truly was able to put my finger on
the why.
On the why.
Why is this a reoccurring thing for me?
Why is this a reoccurring thing? And so I had a friend from high school that, one day I saw a Facebook post and she just looked like a Barbie in a sparkly bikini walking across the stage. And I was like, that is what I want. I want to look like an athlete. I am an athlete, but I want to feel that way when I look in the mirror. Yeah. And that's when I reached out to her and her mom and I signed up for my first bodybuilding show. And when I went through the process, their process of getting to stage lean. And granted, I had to, we were apart. So she was in South Florida. I was in Orlando. So, I was certified. So I trained myself and really I just followed her nutrition program. But throughout that whole process, I was struggling.
Yes.
And I was like, what is this?
Yes.
And that's when I learned that I had binge eating disorder. And that's pretty much when you have this uncontrollable urge to eat in excess until you cannot eat anymore. And I did that so frequently. I did that almost on a weekly basis during this prep. Mm-hmm. And I was getting to the goal, right? But I was overcompensating with exercise because I was like, I have a timeline. I have this show coming up, I need to get on stage. Mm-hmm. So I felt that extra pressure to stay on track. So I would do whatever I had to do to just make sure that I looked the way I needed to look on stage. Right. But as soon as I walked across the stage, I'm talking within weeks, I think I gained those 30 pounds back.
Every time. Yes.
And I was devastated. So that's kind of when everything started.
So the reason that I have Alison on this show is because when we talk about healthy, I want us to get rid of this size thing. I'm not saying that size doesn't matter, that a size can't, you can't be a size that's like, okay, this size is unhealthy. Mm-hmm. Yes, but technically, that's usually never what we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about how the person looks and we think that size is too big. Right. And that is what's unhealthy.
Right.
But
it's the lifestyle.
It's the lifestyle, the entire thing. And Alison created this business called The Holistic Approach. And mind you, Alison changes careers all the time, which y'all know that I love that. She changes looks. She used to have locks like just as long as mine. Then she cut them, and now you see blonde Barbie over here. Like I'm with it. I love that.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, friend. But what I wanted to get into was how you decided to say, okay, really your habits change. I watched you try to figure this out because you were like, and we used to both talk about it because I was like, okay, I have food addiction.
Yeah.
And I put mine as like a food addiction. Mine wasn't always like a binge eating thing.
Yeah.
But mine was definitely a thing. And so I want to talk about first, before we move on to fixing it and creating the habits and how we actually like change these things. But talking about where that stemmed from. I know that mine, when I say I have food addiction, I would have a thing where I always ate as if there was a scarcity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also had food issues as in like certain things couldn't touch. Like, and it wasn't because like, oh, I'm 5. I don't want my broccoli to touch my macaroni or anything like that. It was like the way the food would look. I couldn't touch it. If someone ate off the fork, like even if it's someone I was intimate with, honestly, can I have my own? You know? And I didn't like to share my food. Like if you wanted something, I'd be like, oh, let me get you one. And hey, waiter, can I get another one for you? Yeah. Like it was even like I don't want to share this food. Like it was just a whole food like obsession issue, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I didn't realize that that stemmed from like some childhood things. So like I've talked about just the situation with my parents, but through therapy, I've went through all the things that really made me this person now. And like my parents used to like put a lock on the cabinet for like food, like an actual key lock for food.
You'd have to ask.
I would have to ask, and usually it was like told no, right? And then like also they bought us different foods. Like don't get me wrong, like I'm not giving my kid like caviar because I'm eating caviar, like, and I ain't eating no damn caviar. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but we aren't like making different meals. Like it's one thing if your kid just won't eat it and they want chicken nuggets, totally fine. But like my parents would, and they would like eat something and make themselves something different. Like they would eat like shrimp or like a really nice meal, like some loaded mashed potatoes, you know, like buttered broccoli, like stuff like that, lobster, like stuff like that. And then we would eat a different meal. But the meal would be like, okay, I made spaghetti last week and now we're on day 10. There's still spaghetti left. Y'all need to finish that spaghetti in there. And so it made you not want the food. Right. You know what I mean? It made you like have a disgust for it. Yeah. But then they would, like my dad would call us in there. And I hate this. And I always say that you're just like little slave puppies. Like, you know how you like ask your kid to do you a favor? Yeah. It wasn't like that. It was like when they were done eating, we knew we needed to go in there to get the plates so like we could wash them. More so like because your job is to do the dishes, which is just chores. Yeah. That's totally normal. Right. But it was just more so they weren't going to bring it in there. You had to go in there and they would just leave it. You know what I mean? So they sit in the bed, they would eat, then they would leave the plate. But it'd be like, oh, I left you guys some. Mind you, they have 5 children.
Like scraps.
Yes. It was a very scrap mentality. And it made, so like when, if there's too much sauce on a food or it's mixed together, like even my Chipotle bowl, I have to eat it in the layer. Yeah. I cannot mix it and then eat it. And so it would be like 5 shrimp and then you got 5 kids. And then it's like, what? Or either like 1 crab leg left. Like you could tell it was just what you didn't want or what you couldn't
leftovers,
fit. It was leftovers is what's left over after we cook the meal. Your leftovers are scraps, you know?
Right.
And so it just made a very bad relationship with food.
Wow, I'm so sorry.
Either, friend.
I mean, you never told me this. So I'm shook.
Well, it's think about it. But back then, we hadn't even talked about all the truths. It was just like, you knew that I had issues with my parents. But
and we were just working.
Yeah, we're working out. I want to be better. But, until I started the podcast, I wasn't willing to be honest. You know what I mean? And also until I was like 26, I didn't even know some of these things were wrong until I actually had a child, because I realized I would be livid if somebody did that to my kid. That's what made me start realizing the things were wrong.
Right.
And so with them, also we were treated differently. Like we wanted people to come over all the time because like we would get better food.
Right.
So it'd be like, and mind you, my dad is a chef. Like he owns a restaurant. So it would be like, oh, people are coming over and it'd be like, oh, we're making like seafood Alfredo and like we're going to do this and we're going to do ribs. And so it also got me addicted to having people over and just cooking large meals. So like even now I don't cook for like me. I always cook a large meal, and it's always like, oh, come over and eat, because that's when I would feel the best. That's when my parents were being the nicest. That's when we were eating the same things. That's
so they were kind of like putting on a show.
Yes. And so that's where most of my food issues came from. And, you know, I was always smaller for until I had Trey. I thought I was big, but when I look back now, I'm like,
you were not.
I wasn't big.
I remember when you lived in Brazil, and I was like, so obsessed with all of your yoga videos. I was like, oh my God, how the hell is she doing that? No, but you were very small.
I was very small, but I also noticed in Brazil, so many things about me were no longer an issue because I was so far away. The lifestyle there was healthier. It was easier to incorporate fitness into your lifestyle without actually having to be obsessed with it, you know, and things like that. So those are where my issues stem from. And I know we've shared more about like the binge eating and like the finish your food and things like that. So I want you to talk more to that and just like things that you noticed just from childhood that became bad habits, you know?
For sure. I would say there's a few things, because it's hard to say like one particular thing.
For sure.
But definitely the finish your food, like forcing you to sit at the table, feeding you large amounts of food. And like, I remember crying at the table.
Going to sleep at the table because you won't finish your food.
The table. And I don't think I was a stubborn child or a bad child, but I'm like.
Sometimes you don't like something though.
Or I'm full.
That's a good answer.
You know, and like the adult in me now is like, why couldn't you?
Why don't we accept the kids are full?
Or why couldn't you put that in a?
Why could we put in the fridge?
Why did you give me so much food in the first place? Like, who do you think I am?
I think that one, it goes to show that we have a crazy. Well, just America, of course, as a whole has a portion problem, right? The amounts that we're given, and we're like, oh, that's not enough, or even be upset with a restaurant like that's not a portion, but it's like technically that should fill you up. Even like when we get pregnant, like even when I got pregnant, like I didn't eat more, but I know the doctor was very like, do not eat double. Like that is not like they make it very clear because also you're gonna gain weight so fast that it'll make it dangerous. So I know that I learned about that then, and I also learned about it with you, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But also like giving kids like weird meals like liver and then being like, finish it. It's like some people like, don't like liver.
And
why are we eating liver?
And this happened a lot, mostly when I was in Jamaica, like visiting my family in Jamaica. And like, you know, I just felt like it was very like rigid and very structured in that way where it just made me feel like I had to do this. And I think that's kind of like where that relationship of like, I have to finish my plate or eating beyond feeling full just because I was forced to at one point. And then also like growing up, going to the doctor and like constantly being told that I was overweight. I think it created a stigma of being overweight and then perpetuating it with my own behaviors. So like feeling less than because the doctors kept on telling me you're unhealthy, you're this, that, and the third. When I was still playing tennis, I was still very active. I was still doing all the things, but they weren't really providing me with a solution. Like you're telling me I'm doing something wrong, and yet you're not really giving me a solution to fix it. So
this is just how I am, and you're telling me it's wrong. That's not creating something good.
Exactly.
You know?
Nor are you giving me an answer. You're not giving me a solution to what I can do to make it better. And I think that's what led me down the career path that I ended up doing was like, okay, fine, I'll just learn it myself.
Right. Because you've always been that way.
Like, whatever.
And so what I really loved, and I've just always been a supporter of when you decide to, you know, tap in with holistic approach. And I know you have moments where you're feeling it the most and you offer different things. And I mean, you've offered nutrition training. And I know you were very passionate about that at one point because you realized that there is a lack of knowledge around what is really like. A lot of us are malnourished and we may be large. We're large and malnourished. And so it's like, wait, why is this not making sense? And so what I really commend you for, and I've just always looked up to you for, is that when you did that first bodybuilding competition and you saw how you felt, you kept doing it over and over again with your own systems. And you started learning. And so you started, I'm not going to say shoving macros down our throat, but baby, if you worked with Alison after that first show, she was like, no, we got to count these macros, right? And I was like, so let's talk about one.
Yeah.
What is macros? Because when people talk about fitness, and I'm not saying you guys have to live this every single day, but if you're going for a goal, there is a scientific way to get to the goal and allow yourself enough time to change in a healthy way. Because when you did bodybuilding, I watched you change in 6 weeks, but we don't even realize how unhealthy it is for you to go from one way and then to another in 6 weeks, because most likely you can't sustain it. You've put yourself under so much pressure that the habits that it takes
are not sustainable.
They're not sustainable.
Right.
So can you tell what is macros?
Okay. So macros are short for macronutrients.
Okay.
Which are the the high level of the total calories. So calories are broken down into protein, carbs, and fat. And calories are basically the energy that we take from food.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so Alison started doing she would start planning her macros. Mm. And so now on a high level, she will be training she just did a show. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank
you looked amazing.
Thank you.
And you did your own makeup for the show.
I did.
Yes.
I did. And it's like, I'm still at the beginning stages of bodybuilding, because with the binge eating, it's taken me, as you know, so many years to kind of develop just a structure of living that allows me to get there safely without needing to do all the things that would cause me to binge before. Yes. So it's a longer process, but for me, it's more of a lifestyle at this point. And I think that I'm at the bottom of my next mountain, which is actually competing year round, which is the goal.
Yeah. And I don't see you at the bottom at all. You're so knowledgeable.
But you know what I mean? Like
I do. You're at the next step
of one
right before
mountain is the bottom of the next.
I understand. Mm-hmm. I also know what you mean, because I've seen, we've seen bodybuilders and competitors, if you're not familiar, but you do it with integrity to your body.
Yeah.
And I really love that, which means that you don't start training 6 weeks out. You start training 6 months out.
Right.
And you say, you know what, why am I doing that? Because I know tomorrow, after having this Chipotle today or having an ice cream today, I'm not going to just want to switch over to 4 ounces of salmon and a bowl of spinach. Right. I'm going to fail.
Yeah, it's a transition. It's a transition. I gotta ease my way into it. No, because that's
what you used to.
Yeah, no, it used to be
4 ounces of boiled chicken with nothing.
That was me. That was me. Old me.
No, that wasn't you. That was someone else's program. What I love is that you went into a new field.
Yeah,
you saw it. And you said, and you recognized how you were feeling and what that made you feel like. And for you to look as great as you did, to me, it wasn't a reflection of you feeling better. If anything, I saw you second guess more and, okay, how do I do better at this? And it was very hard on yourself, but also because there was no time for real change. Right. And I saw that you went after doing it a way that would make you feel better, which is why I say integrity to your body. Yeah. That's just what I saw on the outside looking in. And so I just watched you brick by brick do it, say, I understand where it has to go. There has to be a better way.
It has to be.
There was just a standard for your own self-care, and that is beautiful.
And and mental health.
Absolutely.
Because I was like, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I could do this forever.
Yeah, you would end up being unhealthy. It's almost like even with podcasting, for example, getting into this, I have very strict boundaries with myself.
Yeah. If
personally inside I'm not okay, you will not see these cameras turn on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even today, we're doing an episode and I'm like, hey, I have to get this episode out today. This is what we're doing. Why? Because I was sick. Things weren't well. Right. And it's like, okay, what do I need to do to fix that? But we're not turning on those cameras before it's time.
Right.
Just pushing something out in entertainment will do that to you quickly.
Exactly.
And so I really love that. What I also noticed was so for example, you always ate whatever you wanted. You would drink if you wanted to drink. You would, all of that. And I saw you do it where you would plan your meal around okay, I want French fries today and I'm getting these French fries.
It's happening.
Now, how much of these French fries can I have that would fulfill the thing I wanted to fulfill?
Right.
And then also not be totally thrown off where a lot of people will work out all week long, do everything right. And then on that weekend, they go crazy. They didn't eat fast food. They did this. They drank, da-da-da. And so by the time they get back on Monday, nothing has changed.
Right.
And so I watched you do that. I watched you make digestible steps, and things like that. Could you talk more to just gentle parenting, even yourself, or even how that helped you with your binge eating? Because then you allowed, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of like healing childhood traumas. Instead of being you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like having boundaries of self-love and discipline. It's like, because for example, in the big scheme of things, French fries is not going to make a significant difference.
Right.
Especially if
they're vegan.
They are vegan. If you allow yourself to have, you know what I mean? Especially because this is a lifestyle. This is not a 6-week, 12-week, 24-week program. It's a 6-month phase of fat loss, and then it's a 6-month phase of muscle building.
Yeah.
So if I have some French fries within a 24-week period, as long as the rest of my days are accounted for, like, it's not significant.
Right.
But I think the issue with fitness and health in general is that we have like this blanket statement of like, this is unhealthy, this is healthy. And so no one wants to live in the middle where we're saying, yes, the French fries don't have a ton of nutritional value, but they're made from potatoes. And and potatoes have some nutrient. No, but in reality, it's not. It doesn't have to be black and white. And I think
not allowing yourself to feel the thing or eat what you want. Not allowing yourself.
Yeah. And there's a reason for why you want the French fries. And I don't think you should always ignore or try to muffle every single desire or yearn for what you want, because I think the more pressure you put on yourself, the harder the desire is. Like when you tell someone no, it makes them want it more. And I think sometimes when we take away all of those labels and stuff like that, I find that people tend to just eat naturally healthier because there's less restriction. And then the things that we think are bad, you probably don't even want it as much because we don't hold it to the standard of like, those are the best foods or those are the most delicious foods. So I think that when you create balance, I think nothing really has this strong hold on you. You tend to just do what you fall into naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that what I realized how I eat naturally was better when I was more emotionally stable, right?
Right.
And even just the binge eating or the food addiction or whatever, ultimately it's fulfilling a emotional feeling, which is when you're like sad and you're like, you know what, let me go eat a pound of cookies or whatever. Why are you feeling up like that? It's doing something for you. It's a familiar feeling and you get addicted to that habit of when you feel sad, this is my comfort food, right?
Right.
And I know that that's something we used to have in common.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah. And so for you, I watched you change how you balance your macros. So that way you didn't have these large spurts of needing to binge eat something because you were allowing yourself to have a sweet every night or have a drink or
just like
save
whenever.
it for date night.
Yeah.
Whenever. Yes. Whenever.
Hey, you guys. Hope you're enjoying the show. I just had to stop by and let you know that if you have not ordered your thigh-high socks from Sexual Essentials, you're behind. I know how it feels to buy lingerie and you say, ooh, I'm going to be real sexy and put it on, and it's sitting in the back of your drawer collecting dust. Let me tell you, the thigh-high socks are just so convenient. They're super sexy and they're actually comfortable. So instead of feeling like you have to make that large leap into lingerie, try the thigh-high socks. Your partner gets to see you looking sexy as well as yourself, and they're super comfortable. Don't forget to use our code NJASP for 15% off. Tell your friends and make sure that you get your favorite color before they're gone. All right, now back to the show.
So there was that. And then also just even you talking to the point of like you said, healing that past trauma of childhood, whatever that is. That doesn't mean your parents were like terrible, you guys.
No, it just means that whatever
you learned that isn't for you. And I also attribute that as a client to how you always spoke to us and you are always relatable. And I realized I used to have an anxiety about, not with you, but with other trainers, like either not wanting to show up that day or falling off or posting that I'm going out or doing this or whatever, because, you know, now trainers will do the thing where they're like, oh, haven't seen so-and-so, have you seen them? Or either you've seen, I've sent you posts and the trainer is like, well, if you gonna eat this, then don't train with me, da-da-da-da-da. And Alison was always like, girl, I feel you. Like, take your time, but come back tomorrow. Like, we're going to do this tomorrow. Even if, and she was like, if we start and you don't want to do it after 10 minutes, then we'll just do 10 minutes. Like, that's what we'll do. You good? Like, it was literally, like, she really was fine with it. Like, of course, there's just some people that show up and they'll never do the work. And,
you know, it's when you deal with, you know, people have emotions. People have bad days. People have, you know, I consider myself an athlete. I truly enjoy working out all the time. That is not normal. You know, most people have to force themselves to work out. So if you're not in it, if you're not feeling it, if the energy's not there, we can do as much as you're willing to do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're building a habit. I don't expect you to come with everything on every single day. Like,
that's what you're for.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you get to that point, or as much as you can, you know, because at the end of the day, you have to fit this into your life. And that's my job to help you do that. And I think sometimes coaches think that our clients are us.
Yeah.
You know, and that we're going to come with 100% energy every single session. That's not the case.
But also I think that discipline doesn't have to be aggressive. It can be gentle discipline. Like I never felt an anxiety when talking to you. If anything, I'm like, you know what, let me go talk to Alison about this. And by the end of it, where I started off, I don't want to do this. I'm doing it with you, having fun, wheezing on this damn bike. Did you see the bike out there in the front?
I did see that.
Right? Yes. I haven't told you yet because
I saw it.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm not ready to call her back yet.
I was like, oh, this is a good idea.
Yeah, see that app right now. And so like that was really beautiful to see. And then I also want to talk to the point. What was it? I lost it. I think that gummy just slapped the shit out of me. just a little bit.
No, but I love your point about like other like in general, I think like the fitness industry is all or nothing. A lot of people are just all one way or another, and I think people have a very hard time finding balance.
Yeah.
In general. And not just the fitness industry, but people in general, like they have a hard time finding a middle ground of just sustainability. Like I can do this year round. This is a lifestyle for me. This is not, and I think it comes from all of the rules and all of the strictness and all of the, this is bad, this is good, you're failing, you're doing well, like trying to put people in boxes as opposed to just letting people be human and just live a well-rounded life.
You also helped me with, after I had my son, I called Alison and I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on with this body. So if y'all don't know, I have a 6-year-old going on 16 size child. And
he's tall. That's why I was like, what?
Dude's huge. And so for some reason, you know, I worked out. I was really good with working out. I was doing CrossFit up to 8 months pregnant.
I remember.
Yes, I loved it. And then I gained so much weight in my pregnancy. I really thought my body had just like, she was a traitor. Because I was just like, why am I this big, bro? This is not even right. Like, I had that baby, left it out, and I was like, where's the snapback? Mine must have gotten lost. Like, I'm not trying to say, not huge, but just compared to what I was,
right.
it was just like, everything. And I was like, I was so hurt because I was taking such good care of my body, and everything changed. Like, the stretch marks, nothing would go down. I got a hernia in my stomach. So, like, even when I lost weight, it looked like I was still pregnant. Like there was a hump. Didn't even know that it was a hernia at that time just because of like lack of awareness and doctors not telling you anything. Like that's a whole nother topic for the healthcare thing. But I told you, I said, well, I want a tummy tuck. And, you know, we talked about it and you were very healthy about it. And I said, if I'm going to do this, I need to do it with you. And of course, in light of, you know, like the recent passing of like the ladies getting the cosmetic surgery and things like that, I thought it was very necessary for me to share at least my experience with this. I went to Alison because Alison was going to make sure that I was going to be healthy no matter what. I had to lose weight by a certain amount of time to even qualify for the surgery.
Right.
And I went to her for that because I knew she would stay on me. We also know my workout, you know, you already familiar, so it was fine. But also just to see if I would change my mind before the end. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we would change and my body would change and I would be like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I didn't. I still went and had the surgery because also my skin never shrunk back. So I lost the weight. We did it naturally, everything. And I was the size I wanted to be.
Right.
And so that's why I decided to ultimately get the surgery because I was like, oh, well, maybe I need lipo. Maybe I need this. First of all, I didn't even understand what those things were. I just knew that I did not like this post-baby body.
Right.
Now, when I stuck to it, we lost weight. We lost 40 pounds together.
Yeah, that was
beautiful.
Crazy.
Yes, I was on that bike, baby. We did that, and then my skin just sagged.
Right.
So I still had to wear larger clothes because just me, I didn't want certain things hugging on like my stomach coochie part, and it's just hanging, but I still couldn't wear the 2 pieces, and it looked the same. I looked smaller as long as everything was compressed.
Right.
But I still was having to buy large clothes. I did the surgery, and I told her, Alison took care of me after the.
God. In my tiny apartment.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about your minimalistic home. Yeah, she's done everything. She used to be a tiny home liver. And you guys know I have the van, Charlie the van. So when I said, this is my girl, okay?
She's in my Murphy bed, guys.
First of all, she lived on the top stairs. We couldn't find no medicine.
Walking up that, oh my God.
Miami, like I was so, okay, first of all, I'm bringing this up because you should be able to do whatever you want with your body. Absolutely. I'm not telling people not to have surgery. But after having the surgery, I told you, I said, I was not aware of how dangerous what I just did was.
Yeah.
And I said, I would not recommend this to someone else. And what? Like, you regret? Like, no, bitch, I look good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but it was tough.
The surgery itself, and if you don't have the right doctor, is dangerous because they shipping you out like cattle. They're like, you in, you out. They chopping you up same day. I woke up, what it looked like when you went in on the front side was all nice and luxury and da-da-da-da-da. Once they put you to sleep and you wake up, it looked like I was in like one of them chop houses on like Law and Order, like, oh, they've been selling limbs.
When I picked you up, I was like, where am I?
Look, I was in a meatpacking district. Like,
literally.
It was terrible. It was a different part of the building. Girl, I woke up to somebody screaming next to me because she had woke up and she was in so much pain. When I woke up, they hadn't given me any medicine. So there was that. So I felt the actual pain. Mind you, they cut off.
I remember trying to get you in that car.
I was like, y'all, wild. I was just like, this got to be illegal. Like, this isn't right. That's why I was like, okay, it must really be it. But because you woke up in that pain. They cut something. It's just like cutting off your arm and you without no medicine afterwards. So I was like, okay, this is something that I do think. I think going through your program made me healthier. Yeah. Working with you, period, made me healthier and made me have grace and could think without the pressure of I need to be skinny or I need to be smaller or I need to look this way. I generally loved my body. Yeah. Like, I accepted that there were parts I didn't like, but I loved how I looked. I loved the size. And I was like, I'm okay with being a mother.
And your lifestyle, because we were
balanced. We had balance at that time. And I still wanted the surgery, which is why I allowed myself to have it because I truly did not like the extra skin.
Right.
And when they do the tummy tuck, they only will cut out the skin. They'd be charged for everything. That ain't no lipo. That ain't no skin, move nothing. No, it's just cut the skin that's falling, and then they just sew it back up right there. So I felt like I was my actual size.
Right.
Also, I found when they did that, I had a huge hernia in my stomach, which the only way to, fix that, go in with surgery anyway. So with that being said, I do think that we have to, the world makes it difficult for us to talk about or discuss surgery because it sounds like you're telling women what to do or not to do.
Right.
But this is coming from a woman who had a tummy tuck, and I'm telling you, I don't know. And that's why I'm like, I don't even know if I want another child. I'm not totally sure because it's like, what if my body does the same thing? I know too much to go through the tummy tuck process, at least the same way that I did before. Yeah. Like, it is not as, I think we need to take more time to decide about these things because the way I felt coming off that table, even when I heard like, the young lady, DC Young Fly's wife had passed, I immediately felt the guilt because I knew after getting off that table how dangerous it felt. And I was just like, there is no way for anybody to understand. And I knew the world was not going to be kind about it because if you've never went through it, you don't know. And if you're not a mother or you don't feel accepted in your own body, then you don't know, right?
Yeah.
But I will say that having atomic habits that are healthy and working with someone holistically on all the things, because usually if you have a problem with food, it's coming from something else.
Yeah.
Or, if you're having a problem staying consistent with something, it's coming from something else, which is why I just always loved your approach to the holistic thing.
Yeah.
No matter what, anytime I came to you for something, I always got the therapy of the overall body. It was never
full,
just
like, okay, so how are you feeling?
Yeah. That's right. Feeling okay? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
But I think it's tough for people to think about how they're actually feeling. And so the solution to just numb it all is the surgery because it's hard to do the work.
Or to binge eat.
Or the binge eat.
Yeah. So I just want to share that. And I'm always just telling you guys what I've went through and things like that. And I'm not here to hide anything from you guys, but I do think it's important to share if you have had surgery so we don't have these false thoughts of why someone looks so good. Like, this is my actual size, but it's nowhere near like, it could be better. I could be more, not because it needs to be a different size. It could be healthier because I can make sure I move every day. I can make sure I drink enough water every day. Not because I need to look different. It can just be healthier. I don't think
and feel different.
When I had, so I finally got COVID. All this time, never had it. Finally got it.
Good for you. I've had it like 4 times.
Good for you. You got it out of the way. So,
because I've like nearly died.
Yeah. So I didn't, and I don't think I had a bad case. I just had the body pain and the fever. So I was really hot and the body pain. And when I tell you, when I got up, I said, I am going back to working out every day. I said, even if I can only do it 10 minutes a day, I realized I'm over here stuck on what I don't have. And this the content house and being stressed and going into production and thinking in the lack, right? Which is the problem anyway when I talk about the scarcity of food.
Right.
But I have this entire body that is willing and ready to work every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I laid up on that couch and I felt like I felt, why is my child making all this noise in the background? If y'all heard that, look here, this is a real show made by real people. Yeah, the tropical storm. Luckily, the tropical storm let me bring him up to Atlanta with me. But if y'all hear him, that's what it is. Just look past it. Anyways.
Ignore.
Yeah, just ignore that. What I found was that I was not present about how much wealth I have because my body is healthy.
I love that.
Like I'm at my eyes are watering. Good.
Put her on her ass so she can realize.
Together. And it was just like, it was a reminder that no matter what, as long as you wake up, you still have an opportunity to change. Mm-hmm. And there is no excuse for not taking care of your body. And that doesn't mean being an aggressive cycler, becoming a trainer, losing weight. It's not about any of that. It's just about taking care of the body. Just
doing
like your
something for yourself.
Something for your, yes. If you wouldn't have a, well, I would say you would have a car and not take care of it. Plenty of people ride around their car and they ain't got no, they ain't no tread on the tires, no oil change, nothing. I can't even talk. I was riding around no gas the other day. I was riding on prayers.
In college, I don't know how many times I ran out of gas. Too many.
I saw you just look over it.
No, because he would always
your husband come get you. That's how I knew it.
My buddy come get me, please. I'm right by your house.
Sorry.
I'm on my way. I thought I could make it.
But yes, so I do have 2 more questions for you before we move on.
Hopefully I have an answer.
I believe you do. I want to talk about what type of music do you work out to?
Oh my, it's weird. So like Sam Smith, John Legend, like chill, super chill, or like Chris Brown.
Okay, fair.
On Spotify.
Yes. So I like listening to sex music when I work out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Define sex music.
Can we hear
a sample?
You want to hear a sample? No, they're going to take me off YouTube. I can't play a sample, but like...
Give me an example.
Like something that you would turn on like to get
Tank?
the vibes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like that playlist.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Why? Because I always...
this is not judgment.
No, not at all. I know everybody's like inquisitive. I just thought it's always... I want to talk about your playlist options in a second, but I was like, I got to share my little 2 cents.
I love that.
I listen to sex music because I always think about like, at the end of the day, I'm doing this because I'm trying to be fine. Like when I think about being healthy, even drinking the water, I think about somebody eating my pussy. Like you don't want it to taste all weird and tangy, man. Yes. And I'm just, when I think about how to apply it, it's easier for me to stick to it because I want to be attracted to myself. Like I masturbate to myself.
And we talked about this earlier when you talked about the atomic habits, making it enjoyable.
Yes.
And so you got to find what's going to help you stick to it. So that's a good tip.
Put your sex stuff on. I'm just saying. If you're not in there for nothing else but to be fine and to be able to move during sex.
Whatever keeps you going.
Whatever keeps you going. So that's that. But what I wanted to talk about was that, of course, I've studied different things since we've last worked together. But I also noticed that when we talk about food binging or food addiction, a lot of that is to fulfill emotional gap. Like sometimes someone left us and then we ate. And so when we feel lonely, we eat. Like we attach it to something. What I always loved about your song choices was they never encouraged the toxic habit. They encourage something different. So like even when we're sad, we may put on our sad playlist. You play Mary J. Blige on damn well you sad. Like what?
Why?
You know,
it's not helpful.
You're pouring into your own feelings. So if you're feeling sad, putting on the opposite. And your playlist was always the opposite of like the self-doubt or the damn I don't want to do this workout or like whatever. Your playlist always brought me out of my own mind where it was like I'm just here for the fun because the music would be fun and it would be different.
Yeah.
And so I just always noticed that. But ultimately you're here because I want to give you your flowers on just changing your life and always being willing to change and allowing yourself the growth and the space to be whoever the hell you decide to be that day when you wake up.
That from you. Look at this. Look where we are. I remember when you told me this idea, you're like, yeah, I want to create a content house. It's like, what the hell is a content house? And then you literally described it. And this is beyond what I could have ever imagined.
I remember you were here when it was empty, when I toured on you guys. Empty. And I was like, I got an acorn. That means I'm getting this house.
Yeah.
That's what I told everybody. I was like, it's not mine yet, but I have the acorn from it. It's mine. What?
So I'm proud of you. And I'm super happy to be your friend. This is amazing.
Thank you. When I always think about what I have to remember I'm just so wealthy. So wealthy because I have everything that I need. And so before we move on, I also want to Damn, I said 2 more things. Okay, I meant 3. All right, so we did this. We did the music.
I have nowhere to be.
The other one was, it's so ironic, you guys. I know if you guys don't know, I have Charlie the van. I have a live-in van.
Yes.
So, but minimalistic living was something that Alison had reminded me of. I always was a camper outside girl.
Yeah.
But van life is also a minimalistic lifestyle as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when Alison was taking care of me, I'm telling you guys, like, she's, depending on when you get this episode, who knows what she might be doing. She
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. She had this apartment, and it was like a studio. It was like the size of like...
It's kind of smaller than a studio.
It was much smaller than a studio, you guys. It was like...
a room.
A closet. And so she had learned all this minimal...
200 square feet.
200 square foot apartment, y'all.
It was amazing.
It was about the size of this set right here. This is the size of her house.
Yeah.
And she had a dog.
I did have a dog.
So,
Roscoe.
but she had like, you guys, I'm going to put her minimalistic tour video in the links below just because I want you guys to check it. Did you delete that video?
I did.
I shot that video.
You did. And I went viral and I got monetized on YouTube.
That's what I was trying to drop. You heard me doing my job. I was connecting the points. I was connecting the dots.
Guys, I apologize. I have a little OCD issue, so YouTube.
We've always been very similar.
Yeah, YouTube was like not sharing my fitness content because all these people were coming for my apartment video.
And you did. I mean, I knew that, but I didn't think you would go delete it. You was like, "Fuck this! I got something for y'all."
Because I was trying to do the workout videos, and like they weren't getting any views because the apartment video it was very nice. Thank you very much. But all of my subscribers, everything was, oh my gosh, Alison, can you teach me how to... No, this is not what I do for a living.
This was just extra that I put on there.
This is just for fun.
Are you an aspiring podcaster or an existing podcaster trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing after you hit record? My name is Anna Agogo, and I'm the founder of Black Pod Festival, which is a 2-day interactive conference taking place here in Atlanta, Georgia on September 30th and October 1st. There's interactive sessions with Spotify, iHeart, and we have people get sponsorship deals, network deals with Black Effect, and so many more. Go ahead and head to blackpodfestival.com to get your tickets today.
With that being said, I've recently went through... You were so damn funny.
Sorry.
No, not at all. Damn.
I ruined it. Sorry.
Okay, well, if she ever decides to share again, which...
I could do it again. It's very easy.
Yes. Share your minimalistic tips, which by next year, I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
But when I bought this van, I was super excited because it was like, oh, I have to live in van. I can camp. And also less stuff, right?
Yes.
And the weight of less stuff.
Clarity.
Really, the clarity, right? And when I talk about like the realizing that I have my health and that really does make me wealthy, no matter what like the accounts say or the finances say or anything. I went through a situation recently where now part of I don't have my home in Florida anymore. I just have the content house. And so the content house is a business. So I kind of don't have like a home, you know?
Have a home. You have Charlie.
I have Charlie. And so
He's
that's
beautiful.
where that is. And I was asking myself, how am I going to share? Like, I live in a van, but it's like Alison's here and, Alison has done all these different things, whether it's lock or minimalistic or makeup or accounting or whatever. I've always talked to you about these things. Yeah. And so, I'm back in that space of less things and the amount of clarity is beautiful. And so, through all these lives that we've lived together, I am kind of not back where we started, but remembering, just like when I got COVID, like
you're back
my body
to yourself.
It's just me. It's just me. And even the way that I'm even showing up as a parent is different now that I'm in the van, because it's like I'm trying to make sure my child is not traumatized. And like his dad has a house, so he has a, he good.
And I'm sure he loves it.
He loves it. Yeah. And so it's like, well, we have a break. I give him 3 days, then we go do something and do that, something like that. But we do that. And I have to remember last year, I was so excited about this house, right? This van. And that hasn't changed. It's just a shift in how it goes on. So though it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with working out, this episode is about the habits, the things we need to let go of. Attachments, and atomic habits and changing the things that we make consistent in our life. And sometimes you have to let go of a lot of things to start fresh and decide, okay, what's really important? What do you think about when it's not in your face? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the things that we think we have to have is because we see it. You know what I mean? So,
or just think like, we have like this checklist of things that we should have or things that we should need.
Yeah.
But when you, like you said, when you get down to it, it's like my health,
Yeah.
place to lay my head, my family.
Changing my habits as far as like just laying my jump rope out is a better habit than me having all these different things, because I would realize like I have these things, but I can't remember how many times I've even used them. You know what I mean? But I have them.
Yeah.
But I have this jump rope, just one little thing, and I'm not using that. So now
Exactly.
just switching like where we create some of these toxic habits and trading them out with something a little healthier.
Exactly.
So I always talk about everything with you, and so I'm glad to see we can still do that.
I know.
All right, so
Literally.
we're going to move on.
Okay.
To the
I'm
sex
ready.
tip of the day.
Oh, from me?
No, I got you. I got you. I came prepared. I got you. Just like doing, I got to do one today. So the sex tip of the day is because if you guys don't know, my first business was Sexual Essentials, where I am a hands-on sexual educator. And all those classes that I taught are still available. Click the link below. On my Patreon, we also have new content. We have bonus episodes that comes out on there. There's a new sex show, like just sex show, which I thought this show was, but it ain't. Just sex show that's out there. But I wanted to talk about you being a trainer and the first time you took my dick riding class.
My hips are so tight. Oh my goodness.
The sex tip of the day is about a couple of classes that I offer, have. And I always thought it was so funny because the next day, Alison called me and she said, girl, I'm a trainer. She's like, I do this. She's like, I'm a bodybuilder. She's like, I am hurting after this class, after this dick riding class. So I have this dick riding master class. That's not on Patreon, but you can use code NJASP, not just on the sex podcast, for 50% off. It'll be below. Right. 50% off is good. That's
guys, get it. It's good.
That's a nice little percentage. But in that class, we do this sex workout. We start the class with a example of just like a little snippet of a sex workout, because you may work out at the gym and you're working this muscle and that muscle, but the muscles that you use riding dick and sucking dick and have a strong neck, they all just different muscles.
They're not the same muscles.
They don't have a ride dick machine at the gym. So
and they should, because
it was a lot.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about 4 different things that we have on our Patreon or classes that I offer, so that way you guys can get your sex workouts in. If you're on Patreon, there are 3 of them. There is the sex conditioning workout. It's a workout with another trainer that I used a lot, Harold.
Yeah.
Yes, Harold. So when I started Sexual Essentials, I was losing weight and I was like, okay, the girls think that they ain't right. I was riding dick the same way I was when I was bigger,
right,
just as now.
I remember.
I
wasn't there. Continue.
You remember?
No.
But yes, we used to have these talks. Like, hey girl, I gotta finish rest of this wine on that note.
Yeah.
Look here, she was helping me recover from like getting this tummy tuck, and I was in there teaching her sex classes in between because we ain't had nothing to do.
Right.
She couldn't leave me. So there's the sex conditioning workout, which is a full workout. It's like 15 minutes long. You can do it as many times as you want, but there's plenty of steps on there. But there are a lot of different workouts from beginner to advanced, and like if you're not at a certain level, it's like substitutions in there and stuff. But it's all workouts geared to strengthening the things that you really don't strengthen when you're working out in another capacity. So there's that. And then there is a sexy floor dance that is on Patreon. I got with Queen of Hearts Fitness. It's a pole dance studio in Florida, and I got with her, and the song Hours and Hours, when that song first came out, I was so obsessed. And she taught like a chair dance.
Oh, wow.
So I really loved that. It was like 1 or 2 minutes long. And so that is also on Patreon, you guys. And it we do the dance, and then we teach it to you, and then you do it. And it's really fun. So like that was a seductive way of moving. I really like that. And it was like beginner friendly because I can't dance. Like I can chair dance though. Like I can move, sway and look like, but if like them feet get involved, not at all. And then there is a sexercise workout by Evaleros. I hope I'm saying their name right, but it's a company out in California. And this couple, they actually have 2 classes on there. They do a workout that you can do with your partner, and it's a sex workout.
Ooh.
So it's like all these different positions and things like that. And like it I can't explain it.
Hopefully people actually make it to the end of the workout.
That's the things that they say at the end. Like you could tell that like some people like
Left.
do it. That's when you should wear all the like, oh yeah, these are my workout clothes, and then it's like something skimpy as hell
lingerie
at home. Yeah, these are my workout clothes. This my workout lingerie. We just trying to help you get some.
Exactly.
Okay. But that was a really nice workout to do with your partner. So our sex tip of the day is to make sure that you get your sexercise. And also the dick riding class. The dick riding class was really great for that. And it has that in there as well. So all of those links will be below for the Patreon and then for the dick riding class. And so we're going to end the episode with our spiritual tip of the day. Our spiritual tip of the day is just a little tidbit, kind of like the adult tip, but it's on a spiritual tip where, a lot of people talk about self-care and higher self and meditating and crystals, and you hear about astrology and Mercury's and microbraid again and all this stuff. And a lot of people resist it, one, because social media and just like the internet, will take from one thing and then like drown it down your throat, and then it'd be the wrong part or the most superficial part. Right. Not really the whole story. Or either we reject it because we're just ignorant, not in a rude way, but like we just don't know. And so no one really takes the time to just start from the beginning or give you a little piece to help you understand. So the next time you hear it, you could be like, oh, okay, I resonate with that, or I do understand it more than you thought. And so today's spiritual tip of the day is grounding yourself. And I thought that this one was a good one for this episode because sometimes we're just not present in our own body. And in fitness, what I've learned, and even with you, is you would always ask me, how did that feel? When we did something or tried something new, I could change my new routine with Alison every other day. And at the end, she would just ask, how did that make you feel? Do you feel like that's something you can do again tomorrow and you won't hate yourself or hate it or fight me on it? And she would always ask. She would have accountability in there too, y'all. It's not like she was just like, so nice. She would just ask you if you don't want to do it. That had to be the answer though. Right. You can't give an excuse. It would either be, I don't like this, or this works. I'm just not ready to commit to it yet. She would accept it, but she's not going to let you lie to yourself. Yeah. But with grounding, sometimes it was really, I realized sometimes I wasn't even present when I was even eating the food, or either I wasn't present afterwards when I realized I don't even feel good when I eat this type of meat because, after I having the baby, I didn't eat meat anymore. I just got back into like turkey. Right. But I realized I didn't feel good, you know, and being present in your body. And so sometimes the difficulty with the fitness thing is that you've ignored all the things that don't feel good, but also it's because you're divulging into or diving into, I got to watch it because I've been making up words all the time.
Divulging, I get it.
Is it? Okay, cool. That's what I was like, as long as I get it, don't it work? Like, I thought we were friends.
It made sense to me.
There you go. Sometimes we dive into these habits and we don't notice the bad parts because we're also not doing something that's super healthy. So like, even if you eat a bowl of fruit, you'd be like, damn, I feel kind of energized. I feel light. Like I feel like alert. But if we're not doing enough of that, we don't notice. And so grounding is where you just bring yourself kind of to awareness inside of your body and think about, how do I feel? Is this the best that my body has felt? Does this work for me? Yes. And it helps you just kind of start from scratch when you're trying to figure out how you feel and just showing up and really be present. Because a lot of times we are definitely on zombie mode. Like, you ever been driving and you be like, damn, did I run that light? You don't even remember because it's like, you know how to drive, you know how to get home.
Put autopilot.
Yes. Damn, did I leave the stove on? Why don't you know that? Because we're, and that's okay. But so today's spiritual tip is about grounding, which helps you to be present and kind of wake your body up and make sure that you're not in a daze because a lot of times you don't know that you are. Right. And so some of the habits that come to mind are taking a deep breath, breathing in for like 5 to 10 seconds, and then holding it. So you breathe in, then you hold it 3 to 5 seconds, and then you breathe it out slowly. That really helps, not only to calm you down, but for you to like show up and be like, okay, what's really going on? Right. Putting your feet in the grass or out, like taking your shoes off and walking around outside really helps you to ground. And even, of course, like feeling the sun, that is vitamin D, you guys, not just the vitamin D, but the vitamin D. Okay. And then also the 5 senses check-in where
I love that.
Yes. My producer loved that one. She said, do you do check-in with each sense? So it's like 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch outside of the chair you're sitting in, 2 things you can smell, and 1 that you can taste.
Hey, there we go. So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, right. I like that.
Yes, because I'm like, if I start off with 5 things you could taste, you like
wait a minute.
Wait, hold on. But yes, so those are a few ways to help ground yourself. And just, you guys remember that a habit is when the body becomes the mind. So you have to be very, very mindful
Like
of that.
automated.
Yes. And that can be good or that can be bad. Because if you have a habit of brushing your teeth every day, I think that we can say that's a great habit, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it like, oh, damn, I forgot to brush my teeth today. Like, we don't want that type of thing coming up.
Right.
But also habits, making a habit where it's like, oh yeah, I just walk every morning. It's just, you don't even think about it.
Part of your routine.
But the toxic things that you're doing or the things that you want to change or the things that don't bring you the most fulfillment in your own body, those are habits as well. And when your body becomes the mind, you're going to get used to feeling numb when you overeat. You're going to get used to trying to always finish your food or always overcooking or always drinking the whole bottle of wine. Not when I'm talking to old self here.
Yeah.
Yes, right. I just
Because
drink
they
the whole
become
thing.
habits. They really do.
Yes. So just remember that a habit is when the body becomes the mind. So, but thank you for joining me
This
today.
was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. You know,
Yeah,
I've always
I'll be back.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I wonder what you're going to be doing next time. Are we going to be just talking?
I mean,
getting into
hopefully
some
by then
shit?
I'm like a professional bodybuilder.
I believe it. The way that you're going, like, the muscles are real.
Thank you.
Like, they're there all the time. It's not like, oh, I did something for 6 weeks and they popping, and then the next, let me do my push-ups so they stand out. No, they're real. Like, those are real muscles, and I love it. You look strong and healthy and good, girl.
Thank you.
And I love that for you.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think, do we have any announcements? Don't forget that new episodes of Boats and Hoes, y'all. That is the bonus episode of the show. She was
I
like,
need to
who's a
see
hoe?
that.
She was like, who's a hoe? When we were talking about it earlier. New episodes of Boats and Hoes should be out. Make sure you click the link below on Patreon. And then Just Another Sex Podcast. This one is not Just Another Sex Podcast, but Just Another Sex Podcast is a sex show that is also on Patreon. It's only on Patreon. And we also have guests for that one. And we go through and teach different topics that I've taught before. But we do it as a podcast episode. So you get to hear feedback. You get to hear me teach in real time. You get to hear someone tell me their story, or multiple people tell me their story, or we learn something together or demonstrate. Awesome. And it's just, y'all know how I teach. I ain't trying to get kicked off the socials anymore. Yes, I've always been a hands-on educator. And that stuff is just, it's not worth trying to bleep out and put on here. So that show is only on Patreon. So make sure that you guys chime into that. But yes, so please tell the folks where they can find you, your socials, and then I will put that below. And if y'all see her there, you see her there. If you don't, you don't. She's just a fairy. She just do different things all the time. Like,
so on Instagram, it's Alison Vogt, VOGTALLISON fit. Alison Vogt fit.
Okay. So I will make sure I put that below. And you guys make sure that you please tell someone about this episode. If not this one, then another one. Please make sure that you go find a reel that you like, repost it to your stories. Please rate and review the podcast. Like I said, this show costs absolutely nothing to you, but it does cost everything for me. And shit, I'm living out a van. Reshare my post, okay? Rate and review.
It's a beautiful van.
It is a beautiful van, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. It is beautiful.
Tricked out.
Yeah, it is. I got LED lights so I can record it. I'm gonna do a bonus episode on the van.
Give them a tour.
I should. I do have a tour. Oh yeah, I'll put the
put your own tour link.
Huh? Yes, it is on my YouTube. I will put it in the link below. But no, seriously, you guys, I'm trying to grow something. If this is helping you, I'm a real person. I'm not a robot. I need to know that this is helping. I need y'all to share it, work together so we can do it. So I love you guys so much. And make sure that if you guys want to record at the SE Content House, the Something Extraordinary Content House, that you find us on Instagram as well at SE Content House. And till next time, thank you guys for joining. Bye.